Good morning and good afternoon, depending on wherever you at. The time this recording, this is episode 188 of the Restricted Zone podcast, man. The three-man crew, we're back at it again. Mar, introduce yourself to the fans and the subscribers, man.
What's up, bro? We rocking off of last week's momentum, last week's episode. I'm just happy to be back.
All right. We just carrying it on. Chris, introduce yourself to the fans and subscribers, man. Back at it again.
Hello, my name is Chris. I'm a new addition to the podcast. You may know me as the leader of the free world. You also may know me as Chris Guapo, whatever you may know me as. It is what it is, but let's just get this episode started. Rocco from the Ministry Ways Week.
Got you. Definitely check your mic a little bit too, Chris. Definitely. So go ahead, Mar. Listen to me, man. We was having a real tough debate. You threw us for a loop with the question before we knocked it off on episode 187, man. And you really the tiebreaker, But I'm gonna let you go ahead and carry it and introduce that question and break it down the question to us.
Well, we're gonna start with you. We're going to start with you, Colin, because I really want to know your thesis and your opinion on this before we switch it to Chris. But, everybody, there's been, for the past couple of weeks or past week or so, there's been a debate between the better basketball player between Kyrie Irving and Chris Paul. I know who I have. I know who I believe is a better basketball player, but I'm really, really intrigued to hear y'all answer. So, Colin, I'm going to swing it to you first. Who do you think is the better basketball player between Kyrie Irving and Chris Paul?
Basketball player. We're factoring their point guard skills, right?
We're factoring the way they played the game of basketball. I mean, they're two different type of point guards, which some people might not like the question, but I feel like it's still a valid question to be asked.
If I was to put in who would I expect to lead me to a championship, do I have to have that kind of mentality into that thought process as well, or we're just talking straight?
You would have to.
Okay. All right.
You would have to. The basketball's played 5-on-5, not 1-on-1, not 2-on-2, not 3-on-3. It's 5-on-5.
It is 5-on-5, but the point guard position is kind of like one of the most, he kind of spearheaded. He's like the extension of the coach on the court. So, yeah, he plays a vital role. So, if anything, I'm sticking with CP3. Now, I will say this about Kyrie. Kyrie has a chokehold on us as basketball fans and the basketball culture because Kyrie's game is one of the most skilled, beautiful, aesthetically pleasing games that you like. If you was to, I would want, if I had a kid, if he could possibly even play 20% of how Kyrie plays, right? That's just because his game is just that memorizing. I could watch Kyrie highlights all day. You give me a 5 hour Kyrie, yeah, I'm serious. His game is that pleasing, is that great. Now, with that being said, he's a bucket. I love Kyrie, but I think Kyrie is great and suited. We watched Kyrie try to lead and be the guy to lead a team to a finals, or to lead them to at least make a competitive playoff push, right? And he hit the game-winning shot with the Cavs, with LeBron James, right? We don't take nothing from that because if Kyrie doesn't hit that shot, maybe or maybe not, they don't win that series. That's still a toss-up. But he is a champion because he hit that shot that won them that title. So we can never ignore that aspect. So clutch is never something I'm a debate with Kyrie. Kyrie's shown that way too many times, even before that and then after that. So that's not really a debate in terms of clutchness. But in terms of leading a team and dictating the team and being a guy where, okay, I'm giving you full responsibility. This is your team. I want you to take us to however far you can. And we've seen that with Kyrie when he stepped away from LeBron. He didn't want to play with LeBron no more. And that didn't necessarily go as well. A lot of factors, but mainly more so he didn't live up to those expectations. He played well. He played. I will say this: when he went to the Mavs, before the Brooklyn Nets, after the Brooklyn Nets, when he played with Luka, it seemed to me Kyrie is better suited as being like a number 2 option, which is fine. It's nothing wrong.
Okay.
Nothing wrong with that. And I thought Kyrie and Luka was awesome. Like, I thought they could have made a run for the title. You know, Kyrie didn't play his best.
Well, I mean, they did make a run.
I mean, they did make a run, but Kyrie didn't play his best when, you know,
in
the finals.
For sure.
And, you know, that's kind of what I think if he played to where at least played up to what Luka, at least half of what Luka was playing, I think they probably might have won. It might be a tougher series. Who really knows? But I will say Chris Paul to me is, I think people forget who Chris Paul was. I think people, because he's been in the league so long, especially someone like the younger generation, they don't really know who Chris Paul really is. Like for us, we know who Chris Paul really is. Like Chris Paul to me, it's 3 point guards who I love the most. Derrick Rose, he got me into basketball. Rajon Rondo, because I thought he was one of the smartest basketball players. I always called the Celtics the Big Four because I throw Rondo in there because he was that critical to that Celtics squad. And then you got Chris Paul, who I think one of the greatest. Like, it's a shame he'll never win a title because I think that's the only thing on his resume that honestly hurts. Just him not having that title. Okay. But I think Chris Paul is one of the best point guards outside of Magic Johnson. If you want to throw John Stockton in there, depending on who you ask, Chris Paul is one of the best point guards. Isaiah Thomas as well. So you could throw Chris Paul like 4, 5.
Okay.
I'm going Chris Paul.
All right. Now, Chris, with all that being said,
and Chris Paul's a better defender than Kyrie. Throwing that in the two-way player.
So with all that being said, Chris, I would definitely love to hear your response or your rebuttal to anything. Even if you don't have a rebuttal, I want to hear your
I'm gonna go ahead and mute myself.
I definitely have a rebuttal for this. I definitely do. So personally, for me, I feel like Kyrie Irving is a better point guard. Excuse me. Let me rephrase that. I feel like Kyrie Irving. I feel like Kyrie Irving is a better player than Chris Paul. I do not think that he's a better point guard.
Okay.
I do not. Because as a pure point guard, Chris Paul is the greatest that there's ever been. In my personal opinion, and I don't think that anybody can live up to the expectations that he has as a pure point guard. Not even Magic. And Magic was one of the greatest pure point guards ever before a man by the name of Chris Paul got drafted to the New Orleans Hornets in 2005. Okay. So with that being said, I cannot say that I would rather have Chris Paul lead me to a championship competition over Kyrie Irving. When Chris Paul had that opportunity and he went to the championship in 2021 with Devin Booker, no matter how late into his career was, he still went there and he did absolutely nothing during that time. He probably gave you 1-2 mid-range throughout that game, but like against Drew Holiday, it was nothing he was doing, and that was before Drew Holiday was really Drew Holiday, like how he was on the Celtics. That's Milwaukee Bucks Drew Holiday.
You think so?
Milwaukee Bucks Drew Holiday was a menace. He
was a menace. No, he was a menace.
That's what made the Celtics wanted to grab him.
So you think the Celtics Drew Holiday is better than the Bucks Drew Holiday?
Without a doubt. I think that
Celtics Drew Holiday benefits from playing within the system as opposed to in the Bucks where it wasn't really as a systematic format.
That's a take right there.
Yeah,
Colin, that's 100%. That's 100% a good opinion. But Drew Holiday is an amazing system player, and him being on the Celtics shows that. You got to remember, on the Celtics, he was a defensive player of the year candidate. He was never a defensive player of the year candidate on the Bucks. So it was like him being in a system. It gave him a chance to really evolve his defensive prowess. You mean like it really gave him the opportunity to shine as the defensive star he is.
That's true. I'm not gonna disagree in terms of that, but Drew Holiday has been a strong defender. I would say.
Wait, hold on. Forget Drew Holiday.
Yes.
You said when Chris Paul got to the finals. I to be honest, I didn't watch that finals. I really don't remember that finals. I didn't watch it. I didn't watch it, so I don't know anyone's number in that finals. I really don't. I remember a couple games, but so what's the difference between Kyrie's finals against the Celtics and Chris Paul's finals against the Bucks?
What I'll say when it comes to Kyrie's finals against the Celtics, this I hate to say this because I don't like the Celtics. I genuinely don't like the Celtics. But the Celtics were just such a better team. They were. Like, it wasn't even a comparison in my personal opinion. And I
Chris,
really wanted the Mavericks to win that because Luka is one of my two favorite players in the league, Luka and Giannis. So I quite literally wanted Luka to win. I prayed for Luka to win. I got down on my hands and knees like I was a Celtics fan and prayed for Luka to win that final. But I had no hope of him winning that final. In the year of 2024, the Boston Celtics were the best team in the NBA. They were the most rounded. Like, man, like there wasn't not one position, starter wise or bench wise, that they were lacking. Their bench was
Facts.
good enough to be starters on other teams. Peyton Pritchard, he's good enough to be a starter on another team. Robert Williams, Al Horford, they're good enough to be starters on other teams.
well, Robert Williams can't even stay healthy with the Trailblazers, so that's what the conundrum they had.
But on that team at that time, on that Celtics team at that time, it wasn't a debate.
That's true.
Man,
Okay.
so I just
I
feel
have
like,
an argument to that Chris Paul finals, but we'll go into that.
man, so I feel like not only did was the gap in competition more compared to the Bucks Suns finals because the Bucks Suns finals, I would say that that was a pretty even matchup. Like that
Because
was
Chris
genuinely
Paul
pretty
didn't
even.
play his best. Like Chris Paul only had one bad game. He averaged
He didn't play bad. He didn't
he
play
averaged
bad, but
22 and 8, and
There
he
was 22.
he averaged 22 and 8.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm
he
like
didn't play bad.
because
He didn't play
it's
bad.
been a
I'm
good.
not saying he played bad.
What I would do when we're done recording, I'm gonna actually find the full games of those finals and really watch
22
it,
and
so I can really
8.
look at that because
I know Kyrie didn't average that.
But Kyrie hit the most impactful shot
And
That was
not
that was
even
that
just
was
that.
10 years ago. That was literally
But
10
not even
years
just
ago.
that. Kyrie had two 40-point games in that series. Like what are we talking about? He had
Yeah.
two
That
40-point
was,
games.
but we're talking about 10 years ago.
Oh,
Mhm.
yeah.
10 years ago, Chris
Are
Paul
you
was on the
not aware?
Clippers.
Are you not aware of how hard it was to score 40 points against the Golden State Warriors back then? Like
What
what are
have
we
you
saying?
done for me lately?
That is true. It's always been what have you
Okay,
done?
If Chris Paul, no, listen, because
that's fair.
Chris said, even though he doesn't care how old Chris Paul was or how long he's been in the league, averaging 22 and 8 in the finals. And I know Kyrie didn't average no 22 against the
Kyrie only had
Celtics.
one. Kyrie averaged 27 in that
Yeah,
finals.
yeah.
No,
He
what
averaged
did he?
20.
No. Y'all keep talking about this finals from 10 years ago. What
Oh,
did he do in the most latest finals?
he didn't do
Oh,
too well in that
yeah.
finals.
No, he didn't do well at all. But
Yeah,
once again, like I
that,
was saying,
And this was an older
that's
Chris
the
Paul.
skill.
that's true.
But that's the gap
That
in
was
competition.
This is
oh.
an
That's the gap
older
in
Chris Paul
competition.
going against Drew
I see.
Holiday, known as one of the best perimeter
I see where you're going
defenders
with it. I
in the
see where you're going
league,
with
I
it.
and he gave
see
him
what you're
22
saying,
and 8.
Mark. I 100%
Kyrie didn't
see
even
what you're
average
saying.
20. No, he averaged
But
20
man,
because you
but we
rounded
have to
out 19.8.
listen.
You rounded
We
out.
have to
Yeah, we'll
look
round
at the
that up.
gap in competition. We have to look at the gap in competition.
What you mean
You
by
got to
gap in
remember,
competition?
Drew Holiday. Drew Holiday was not the only person on that team that guarded Kyrie in that series. Yeah, he also had to deal with Derek White and Jalen Brown throughout that series.
Well,
So
let me
once
ask you.
again,
Wait, Christian,
that's
let me
a
ask you.
problem.
Let me ask you. 2024 Celtics or 2016 Warriors? Who's the better team?
2016 Warriors, without a doubt.
Okay, so you was about to argue that the competition in the finals with the
There
Celtics
was defensive skill gap.
So the
Defensive
Suns
skill gap.
went to the finals in 2022 or 2021.
2021.
2021.
Chris Paul was drafted in 2005. If my math is correct, that's 16
16 years.
seasons.
Yeah.
That's
16 years later, 22 and 8.
And he didn't
That's
even
all I'm
turn the ball
saying.
over that bad. He didn't.
That's all I'm saying.
He
Against one of the
Listen,
best.
I am not denying that Chris
I
Paul
would have
had
to
an
rewatch that
amazing
series
series.
again.
But that series quite literally doesn't matter because they blew a 2-0 lead. So that series literally holds no weight. It don't matter what you did if you couldn't
hey,
finish it out.
listen, a loss is a loss. Yeah, you're right. Kyrie has, but so what's your argument that Kyrie has a championship and that Chris Paul doesn't?
What makes Kyrie the better player?
Right, because outside of scoring,
his play style, honestly, his play style, you can put Kyrie anywhere on the court, and he's going to shine.
You can't put Chris Paul anywhere.
You can't put Chris Paul at the 2. You can put Kyrie at the 2. You can't put Chris Paul at the 2. The argument was who is a better all around player. I said that Chris Paul is a better point guard, but you can't put Chris Paul at the 2 guard and expect him to shine. Kyrie played the 2 guard for a majority of last season, and he shined.
Mm-hmm.
In the season before that, and he shined because Luka played the 1. They wasn't moving Luka from the position that they groomed him to be. So when Kyrie got there, they made Kyrie play the 2.
Right.
Okay.
And Kyrie shined, like, and there was no like, and there was no real stopping him.
So your argument is because Kyrie's more of a combo guard, and Chris Paul is more strictly a point guard.
Yes, his pure point abilities do not make up for what Kyrie has is a combo.
But what about the defense?
Kyrie can do everything. Kyrie can do everything that Chris Paul can do at the 1 and the 2.
Nah, I can't agree with that one. I can't. I think it's the other way around.
You gotta sell me. You gotta sell me a little bit harder on that one because it's like I see the vision. I see where. But this is what I'm saying though. What about the defensive aspect? Where does that factor inside your decision? Because we, like basketball players, we're factoring all aspects of skills.
Well, in 2016, Kyrie Irving had one of the hardest jobs that had to be done that year, and that's guard Stephen Curry. And he did a damn well good job of it. Like, and we can't deny it.
That's fair.
He held Curry, who is without a doubt the greatest point guard of all time, to under 30 points.
The greatest point guard of all time, you said? We'll get to that another time.
Yeah, we can have that kind of conversation after this one. But he held Curry to under 30 points, and you have to remember how hard that actually was during that time. Curry was damn near averaging 30 in the playoffs. So for anybody to hold him to anything less than 6 threes a game was like unheard of.
I don't know, man. I just feel like.
Let me look that up.
I just feel like, me personally, I'm going to jump in and I'm going to give my take on it. Me personally, I would take Chris Paul. I feel like a lot of things Colin said. I mean, people tend to forget.
Give me 1 second, Mark. Hey, Colin, I'm going to the car right now, so my camera's going to be off for the rest of the pod.
Got you.
So, I mean, to evaluate a basketball player is, even if you can't put this person on different positions on the court, whatever team you put Chris Paul on, they always exceeded expectations. Right. No matter if he had a good second option or not. Like, Cuz was on the Clippers, because I was a Clippers fan for that 2014 to 2016 run. And Cuz had Matt Barnes and JJ Redick starting. And like, you had JJ Redick starting in your backcourt, who's not going to dribble the ball. And it's just like, yeah, people want to say give the ball to Jamal Crawford. Okay, Jamal Crawford is my favorite player ever. But he was coming, but he was coming off. It's Monte Ellis, Carmelo, and Jamal Crawford. Those are my top 3 favorite players.
I see. I got you.
But it's just like who was he supposed to give the ball to at that time? Like, Matt Barnes is on the wing, JJ Redick is on the wing, and then you got Blake Griffin and DeAndre Jordan. So he's really not really. He has to control the tempo of the team. What I will say is, I like how Chris said he thinks Kyrie could do everything he thinks Kyrie could do everything Chris Paul can do, which I think is the reverse. Because we saw Chris Paul as the number 1 option. I mean, he battled through a lot of injuries. You can't really judge that. But when he was the number 1 option, he was still able to lead a team. And then, unfortunately, injuries will play a part. But even when you saw Chris Paul as a second option doing ISO work on the Rockets, he was still ISOing people with James Harden. He was still able to play ISO ball and shoot and score over anybody without the pick and roll. He didn't need it. So if you let Chris Paul score in the ISO, I'm not saying it looks like Kyrie Irving or it's gonna be like Kyrie Irving, but he can ISO a defender just like Kyrie Irving can. Kyrie Irving can't do what Chris Paul can do. Kyrie's not gonna be a assist leader. He's not gonna be a steals champ leader. He's not gonna make all defensive teams. He's not gonna do that. Chris Paul is more versatile in his game than I think a Kyrie Irving is. And it's not even about just switching positions. To play with James Harden is not an easy task. And he made it. And he's not even they're both point guards at the end of the day. They're both pure point guards. I mean, James is more like a combo guard, but James can average 10 assists if he want to. So when you got two players that can average 10 assists and you letting Chris Paul do ISO work, mind you, he didn't get to the Rockets till what, like 2017, 2018, which is 12 years later. See, look, like everyone talks about when they bring up Kyrie Irving, it's from 10 years ago. People only bring up Kyrie Irving stuff from 10 years ago. Right. You can fast forward Chris Paul 10 years, 12 years, 15 years, and he's still going to give you the same production. Yep. I just don't like how when you make a point about Kyrie Irving, you making a point from 10 years ago when Cuz was 22 years old. He hit that shot in the finals when he was 22 years old. If anybody else was to hit that shot at 22, you would be like, oh, yeah, their career is going to go up. They're going to get another ring. They're going to do this and that. What have you done for me lately? I was in high school when that shot was when he hit that shot, and that's all people talk about when it comes to Kyrie. And I love Kyrie, but Chris Paul, like, they both started on trash teams. Chris Paul was leading the Hornets.
People don't understand in the West. In the West.
A second option in David West, who is a valuable player, but
like people, no. and then it's like I don't think Kyrie could ever play point guard the way Chris Paul plays point guard. Just like I think, and me personally, as a testament, I want to piggyback on some of the statements you said, Mark. Let's look at that OKC season when he got traded. Everyone thought OKC wasn't making the playoffs. I was reading those. Listen, nobody had OKC making the playoffs. Chris Paul.
Agreed. That's what I'm saying. He elevates all his teams.
Me personally, I don't think you could put Kyrie Irving. Like, listen, we saw what he did with the Cavs for 3-4 years before Bron came over. I really believe if you put Chris Paul, they make the playoffs. They probably lose in the first round, but they make the playoffs. In the East, Kyrie.
Yeah, that's just the East.
Right. Chris Paul was taking the Hornets to the West when it was way stiffer competition. And if he could do that with the Hornets, imagine if he was in the East. Oh, he'd be making probably the second round, sometimes conference finals if he got lucky if the strings pulled around.
That's how I feel, bro. So like I said, if you had any other player who hit a game 7 shot like that at 22, 23 years old, you wouldn't expect their career. I'm not targeting Kyrie. I'm not trying to target. Yeah, but at the same time, for you to be 22, 23 and hit that shot, we kind of just expect more is all I'm saying.
Right.
And that, makes sense.
Chris, so what's your thoughts in terms of that? If you could
when you put it into that perspective, I genuinely understand what you're saying, but I cannot give my entire commitment nor my entire agreement to that. But and it's simply just based off of the simple fact that I watched both Chris Paul and Kyrie play when I was growing up. Like literally, I watched Live City, Chris Paul, and past that, and 2012 Kyrie and past that, and just based off of what I seen from both of them throughout that time, like I 100% agree with the statements that were made about Live City Chris Paul and even 2021 Chris Paul. And even 2021 Chris Paul with him taking the Thunder to the not the finals. Him taking the Thunder to the playoffs. Yeah, nobody expected them to make it to the playoffs, and they still made So I 100% agree with the fact that Chris
Chris,
Paul is a
okay,
better leader
let me.
and he's a better point guard. He's a better
Chris
second
Paul
fiddle
is
coach.
a floor raiser. Like whatever,
100%.
he's a floor raiser. That's Chris Paul. I don't
100%.
think you can say the same for Kyrie.
You said you can't say the same for Kyrie?
Can't say the same for Kyrie. That's where I draw the line between them. If you feel
I,
otherwise, I'm love to hear
I
your
can
point.
definitely say that he's a floor raiser, just not to the extent of Chris Paul.
That's fair. That's fair.
That's fair. Okay.
That's fair.
All right.
I'm not gonna lie. If I was on the floor with Kyrie and I saw him doing that, he would probably make me want to go. Like, I can
That's
see
what I'm
why you say
saying.
that. It might not be to the extent of Chris. They do it in two different ways.
Right.
Yeah.
Because
Kyrie's
most,
actions motivate people.
Yeah.
But Chris Paul gives people direction.
Yeah. All right, that's fair.
So it's different.
That's fair. That's fair.
That was, I mean, yeah.
But I'll let you take this. I'll let Chris Paul take the one for now. It's cool.
Let's see what Chris Paul won't even play a lot for the Clippers this upcoming season. In all honesty, I don't really think he'll see that much. He'll be off the bench, but a 40-some-year-old Chris Paul, I don't know how much.
No, definitely not.
He better not be on the floor.
He like 40.
Yeah, I don't know how much he could gain. You know, I mean, he more of a coach at this point. Honestly,
Honestly, I'm more.
Too. Oh man.
Oh yeah, can I ask you a question real quick?
We gotta talk about John Wall. We gotta talk about John Wall.
I asked people this question before, and maybe I'm tripping, but who would you rather have on your team? See, this is what I'm saying. I'm changing the type of question. Who would you rather have on your team, John Wall or Chris Paul? I mean, not John Wall or Kyrie Irving. And I thought about this like 3 months ago before,
Kyrie Irving.
I feel like John Wall is another case of like I told you it was DeMarcus Cousins. He said this on the podcast. He said Jason Tatum has a career most guys would want to have come into the league. John Wall landed in a terrible organization that mismanaged him when it came to roster construction.
Right.
Two times that the Wizards actually built him a semblance of a roster was in 2014 and 2017. And he took them to the he took them to the second round, game 7. They lost to the Celtics. But John Wall hit the game-winning shot in game 6. I remember that vividly. John Wall got hurt and he tore his Achilles, and then it was a steep downhill decline after that. I just feel like John Wall as a point guard, and then Kyrie's the better scorer. The only thing you can offer with Kyrie is he can outscore you, or he scores the ball. Like, what does Kyrie do? And I'm not saying he's bad at anything else. He's not
drop
bad
40, drop 40 points, break the ankles, get the defender to the other side of the court.
John Wall could drop 40. He doesn't do it on a Kyrie consistent level, but John Wall
has he ever dropped 40?
Yes.
I feel like John Wall's had 40 before.
I do not recall any 40-point John Wall game. Somebody look that up. I don't recall any 40-point John Wall game.
But does that make you better than someone?
Yeah, but that doesn't mean
no.
I'm looking at
it doesn't make him better.
I was just asking.
He's a better scorer.
Like, I've seen John Wall took the Wizards to the playoffs with like a semi-bad team. Kyrie's had a semi-bad team, and he didn't go anywhere for until LeBron came. So, like,
that's not fair. That's not fair. That's not fair.
I mean, John Wall had Bradley Beal.
Number 1 picks. They both landed the bad organization.
That's not fair, though.
What are you saying?
I mean, John Wall did have Bradley Beal.
He had Bradley.
Come on.
Kyrie was
working with TP.
Bradley Beal.
And he had Marcin Gortat at that time. So you literally cannot, you can't make a real argument out of that.
John Wall had 40 points against the Los Angeles Lakers in 2018. He did it again in the
2018. God damn.
2018. And then he did it against in the playoffs in the Boston Celtics when he lost to the Celtics. And he made 2nd, 2017. John Wall's a better, I'm taking.
So who you picking, Kylan?
John Wall. I said it. I'm taking John Wall. It was a
debate. Mark, who you picking?
I don't know, man. I'm picking John Wall. To be honest, I've asked at least 10 people this question. Colin is the only one that's ever picked John Wall with me. I'm the only one that usually picks John Wall.
Because people see, that's what I'm saying. Kyrie has such a chokehold on the bet because the way his game aesthetically looks, and not to say like he's efficient too. Don't get it twisted, but his game, like I could watch a 4-hour highlight of Kyrie Irving. That's how.
Now listen, hold on, listen. This is the question I said was, who would you rather have on your team? I'm not saying John Wall's a better player.
John Wall.
I would rather have John Wall on my team. I'm not saying John Wall's the better player though. That's different than who I prefer on my team.
Right. When I've seen the Wizards surround John Wall with a competent roster, he at least took them as far as they can go. And, and Kyrie just got a championship. He hit the game-winning shot. I mean, hey, John Wall doesn't have anything to show. He has a lot to show in terms of accolades, but, it's always about what have you done for me lately? And
it should be at least.
It should be at least. You can't say nothing against that. That's just what it is. That's why a lot of these things come down to perspective and preference and stuff like that. But I would take John Wall over Kyrie, in all honesty. Like, I don't think Kyrie does any outside of score the ball, and that's fair. The goal is to put the ball in the hoop. So
exactly, the game is about a bucket.
That's what I'm saying. If you want to focus on that, hey, I see why you take Kyrie. I'm not about to argue against that, but if we're looking at all around who impacts the game when the shot not falling, I'm looking at John Wall. I've seen John Wall done it a couple of times. So it's like, hey, if John Wall retired though, man, that's crazy, man.
Yeah, no, that definitely was. That definitely was a sad day.
He could still play too
when he retired.
I know, right? He could still play. I know, Chris. That was
he could still play, but once again, would he be efficient on court? Man, see, I hate the narrative of players still being.
I hate that. I think he averaged a dub in Houston.
The Houston they was looking to tank. John Wall was trying to be competitive. They was at two different stages of their career. And they pretty much paid him.
At that point, John Wall was ring chasing, I feel like, and Houston was trying to figure out what's going to be their next generation.
And John Wall, and then he got hurt again, I think. And then, he just pretty much, it's just never been the same. No team was like, listen, you don't have what made you John Wall anymore. And I've always said, and that's why I felt like, that's why one of the things too, like with guys who have that type of like point guards of their architect, like you gotta focus on some part of the fundamental skills of the game. Because when you lose that athleticism, like, that's why, listen, DeMar DeRozan, Chris, when he was on the Raptors, like the first 5-6 years, DeRozan was like athletic, doing crazy stuff.
100%.
And he got real technical with his game. I think he had suffered an injury. I don't know if it was he suffered a big injury. I forgot what it was. He got real technical with his game. This man's still playing right now, shooting all middies too. That's why I love DeMar DeRozan's game.
Yeah, I love DeMar DeRozan as well.
Yeah, I love DeMar DeRozan.
I feel like DeMar DeRozan got the short end of the stick in many situations, like not just the Raptors, but when he went to the Spurs, without a doubt, he had the short end of the stick there. When he went to the Bulls, that Bulls team was genuinely team was a championship caliber team, but Lonzo Ball ended up getting hurt. Lonzo Ball getting hurt ruined it.
Oh yeah, they would have definitely. No, I'm not even thinking about.
People forget about that. When Lonzo was on that team and healthy, that Bulls team was dangerous.
Like that was an amazing team. They had Nikola Vucevic. They had Vucevic. Did they have Vucevic or was it Nurkic that they had?
They had Vucevic.
They had Vucevic, right? All right, yeah. So they had Vucevic, Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, Lonzo Ball, Kobe White. That's an amazing starting lineup.
They had a solid
the way that everybody played, rolled together. Injuries,
that's crazy, man. Injuries take so much out the game, man, and it sucks, man, because it ruins some special what could have been what if scenarios for some franchises and players.
That team
But that's
definitely
why,
had the opportunity to make Chicago great again.
man, Derrick
Yeah, I
Rose
don't
had
think that's
that
ever gonna happen.
before he tore his Achilles, and then it was
Derrick
game over.
Rose's Chicago team was also amazing. Taj Gibson, Carlos Boozer,
But
Joakim
he,
Noah, and Derrick
yo,
Rose. Like
I stand on this. If LeBron hadn't gone to the Heat, Derrick Rose would have won the title.
that is a horrible opinion, and I just want you to realize that.
He would have won the title. He might not have done
They
it.
would not.
He would have
Had
probably won it.
LeBron stayed on the Cavs, they wouldn't have beat the Cavs.
Yes, they would. They'd have beat the Cavs.
They wouldn't have.
They would.
You're saying
They would
that
have.
out of you are
Listen,
saying
the
that out of
Chicago,
nostalgia bias.
No,
I mean, you
the
still had the
Chicago,
Celtics.
the
You still had
Chicago
the
Bulls.
Celtics big
They took the
three.
Celtics. You gotta remember the Bulls took the Celtics to 7 games, and when they was a young upcoming team,
And they didn't win.
They was progressing every single. That's what I'm
They
saying.
took them to 7 games and they didn't win. They weren't beating the Dwight
That
Howard
was
Magic.
Joakim Noah's
They weren't
second
beating
year.
them.
That was Todd. Like that. They
They
was a
weren't
young.
beating the Dwight Howard Magic.
Yeah, they were still a team.
saying.
That was a team. That was a
Yeah,
team.
that was a real team.
Listen to me. They could have won the title by 2015, 2016. It was just a matter of progression, hypothetically speaking. Progression. They're going from progression.
No, because Taj Gibson and Carlos Boozer were both like mid-tier players by then. Not even mid-tier. Taj Gibson was
We're talking about the East. We still factor in the East. This is still the East.
And think about it like this.
Competition.
The only reason it was a the only reason that it was a weak East was because LeBron James was on the East. So the East would have still been considered as weak. Want to know why? Because LeBron James would have still been on the Eastern Conference. There was nobody throughout that 8-year time span. There was not one team combination short of maybe Paul George going to that Bulls team that would have stopped
George
LeBron
and them
James.
Pacers.
No, it was a couple of teams that could have threatened LeBron, and the Pacers was definitely one of those teams that were consistently. Paul George just wasn't when it's time to come. The Pacers threatened
here you go.
times.
Colin, you're not about to disrespect Paul George.
Here you go.
Like you ain't about to do that.
Number 24, Paul George. Come on.
The one that passed CJ Miles the shot. What you talking? Listen to me. I like Paul George. He was an animal.
Bro, you're talking about
animal.
26. You're talking about after the injury.
I was just saying, Paul George
before injury.
Wait, why are you guys getting up? I literally said the Indiana Pacers were a threat to the Miami Heat when Paul George back in the day. So where you guys?
So what I was saying, no. So listen, because that's the opposite of what I was saying. What I was saying was there's no combination of players on the Eastern Conference at that time that could have stopped LeBron James from making the finals 8 years in a row. There isn't. LeBron James was consistently the best player in the league for 8 years, and he was head and shoulders above everybody else. Even in 2015 and 16, when Stephen Curry was having his little light skin moment. LeBron James was still head and shoulders above, leagues above everybody else. And
that's fair. That's fair to say. I'm not gonna disagree with you on that. I'm just gonna say him going to the Heat set off a lot of things, and it changed a lot of things. So if he stays in the Cavs, who knows? But hey, we'll never know.
If Melo goes to their Bulls team, the Heat still do the same thing.
No, I don't know. That's
the truth. That's what I'm saying.
Because it was more than just.
This is prime.
Yo, is my thing frozen?
We're gonna let you have that, Chris. We're gonna let you have that. I will say this, John Wall.
I love Bron, but
John. Let's bring it back to John Wall before we kind of swing off to the end of the episode. But John Wall, he had played for 11 years in the league. 2010. I've been watching his high school mixtapes. If you remember, Mark, back in the days when high school mixtapes was that. Where would you rate John Wall's high school? Because I think he got top 3.
I think it's top 3.
It's top 3.
Top 3 all time. That's fair. That's fair.
All time. Who's number 1, 2, and 3? Because I think John Wall fighting for that number 1 spot. But who's your number 1, 2?
I don't think it's close. I don't think.
You don't think it's
close?
No one beat,
I don't think no one beats a Kills Car high school mixtape. I don't. When you got the gangs of your city coming through to see you, and there's no more violence on the streets, there's nothing else to talk about. When they call you the Crime Stopper, there's nothing to talk
I'm
about.
gonna keep it a man, and that's the same situation for Derrick Rose and
I
Sharife
was about to
Cooper in high
say,
school.
I was about to say,
Like
but Derrick
they were
Rose,
both having like they were major impacts in the community. Like man, like Derrick
nah,
Rose in high school was more famous than Jordan on the Bulls, and that's crazy to say. Like that's
no,
genuinely crazy to say.
it's no. I mean, hey, I just saw G Herbo in the interview just said Derrick
He
Rose
just said
need
the
more
same thing. Yeah,
this video, and I thought the old heads was like, "What the hell he talking about?" And I see that's why I say it's a generational thing. Like if you,
Well,
yeah.
I mean, Derrick Rose is really from there. Michael Jordan
that's
just
what I'm
played
saying. Like I
there.
understand. Like I understand. Like G Herbo said, we watched D Rose kill in high school. We watched him kill in college, and we watch. Like I get it. They have it's a more personal connection with that. But
See,
uh,
and
like
that's
I
another thing that I feel like we need to talk about because though we are heading off to the end of the episode.
what?
The shift in like the talent of players that come into the league has happened mainly because it's like a lot of new AAU kids that's coming into the league now. You get what I'm saying? Like man, like getting into the league is more of a pay to win thing than how it used to be.
Oh yeah. No, I've been seeing that Yeah, definitely. It ain't like it's tough now
Like
without the
like we don't
resources.
we don't got gang members going to the league no more.
Nah,
You have to
bro. We
remember,
don't need.
Derrick
Nah,
Rose
we
was
don't.
quite literally a GD.
No, bro. We not talking about that, bro. That's no. He don't do that.
But
He a
that's the
real
hunger
respectable
aspect of
business.
it.
No, I get it, bro. I
Like
hear what you say.
but that's the hunger aspect of it. Like we need
Crazy.
more of that in the league.
Crazy fucking Chris. We not listen. Whatever that man do off the court, he's a great father. He's a great
I
humanitarian.
don't care about his actions off the
Humanitarian.
court. I
Yeah,
don't
bro.
care
We
about
get
his
talking
actions.
about he's not talking.
His actions
Humanitarian.
on the court, his
Hey,
actions
yo,
on the court
he's a great
stem from
and
his
Chris.
rough
With that being
upbringing.
said, he's a great basketball player overall. We're enough about Derrick Rose. We're gonna bring it back to John Wall because the man did
It's the
retire.
same
I just
situation
saw.
for John Wall.
No,
I
good.
knew he was
We're
gonna
not
say
talking
that.
about. I knew he was. We're not talking about that. John Wall just picked up a gig as an NBA analysis. He's going to be talking with Candace Parker, who I
Oh, that's
believe.
what's up.
I think a couple of. I forgot off the top of my head, but he already picked up a gig, so that lets you know already he's very well connected and respected around the league. He's definitely one of those guys who got. I'm pretty sure, the Washington Wizards, as much as they love Derrick Rose and the Bulls, they really love him. What John Wall did for the Washington Wizards, especially that Dougie dance he did, that's over viral now. Like it's still over viral. John Wall
Definitely.
he
When
had
he
his
was throwing up big D's after dunking
all
on
right,
people
bro,
like
we not
100%.
talking about that. But Mark, you remember when John Wall had his own dance and his own song? John Wall was a real rock. He was like a rapper.
Yeah, he was.
He was a
Oh,
Yeah,
the
rapper.
John Wall song. I remember
Like,
that.
yeah.
like he
John
wasn't a
Wall was.
rapper, but he damn near was kind of like a rapper, and he kind of had
I
like that.
forgot about the John Wall song. That's genuinely a
Listen,
throwback.
John Wall was more of like he's kind of like a cultural icon in the basketball world too, because of who he is and what and what Chris keeps trying to bring up and all that other stuff. But really, he means a lot to the Washington Wizards and just Maryland, as a whole. Like his whole John Wall Foundation, he's got it in Maryland and North Carolina too. So it's like he's really entrenched in there. So they really love him outside that community. And I've always been a John Wall fan. It was Derrick Rose and then watching John Wall. He was like the coming of Derrick Rose. It almost seemed like they both was like, you never seen point guards like that, play like that. It was crazy. And he had a pretty good 10-year career in all honesty. I don't know if he'll be a Hall of Famer or not. That's up for debate, but he definitely had a pretty good career.
Probably
Definitely
not.
could
Unfortunately, John Wall does
he
not have the
probably
accolades to be a Hall of
Yeah,
Famer.
he
So no.
probably
yeah,
not.
I know that, but I feel like they
And,
factor in high
and
school, college, and the NBA. So I
Yeah,
figure
they do. It's the Basketball Hall of Fame, not the
right.
NBA
That's
Hall
what
of
I'm
yeah,
saying.
Fame.
So he might have a shot, but if he don't, it'd be like, damn, that's crazy. But he definitely is one of my favorite point guards. I always battle for John Wall. It just sucks that he went to an organization that didn't utilize him the best way that they should have. But
100%.
crazy, man. People don't talk about draft picks and getting landings. It's like I tell people all the time, Steph Curry got drafted by the Wolves. He's not Steph Curry we know today. Like,
I think so.
That's up for debate.
No,
I can't rock with that one.
We could debate that in another
rock with that
episode.
one.
I genuinely, Curry landed with the Wolves. Like, no, I don't think. No, it's too many factors. That's why.
Let me explain to you how Stephen Curry figured out he was able to do what he was able to do.
If Kobe didn't go to the Lakers, is he the same?
No, all right, cut it, please cut it.
Yeah, in the episode, like in the episode, just in the episode, because you about to
cut it now.
I'm a Kobe fan, but if he with the Hornets,
you're not. Please cut it. Please.
Like, don't say that.
Hornets.
No.
If Kobe went to the Hornets, he would have did what he did a lot sooner.
That's what I'm saying. He didn't play for 2 years on the Lakers. Nigga, he was on the bench for his first 2 fucking years. What are you talking about?
Like
he was behind Eddie Jones. Did you forget?
I ain't forget Big Man Excel.
Kobe,
I know.
If Kobe would have been in a poverty frame, if Kobe would have been in a poverty franchise like how LeBron was, it wouldn't have been no question on who the greatest player of all time was.
You really just
it wouldn't have been a question.
Great players are going to succeed no matter what. When you're great, you're going to find a way to succeed. Like, if you said, maybe if you would have said someone like, if you would have said Draymond Green didn't go to the Warriors, okay, I could understand that. But great players are going to find a way to be great.
Yeah, I got it.
Mark, I will say this. Everything you guys said, I feel the same way. What I mean by that is people don't understand, like, the personnel. It's so much that factor into it when you get drafted to
but you're talking about great players. You're talking about arguably. Cool. You're talking about the number one shooting guard ever in Kobe Bryant, and you're talking about the number one point guard in Steph Curry.
Mark,
they're gonna find a way to be great.
I'm not that's not completely disagreeing that point, but I think you guys are just ignoring the other aspects. Like, some of these guys talk about it in podcasts and they just talk about. So it's like, I get it. I'm not gonna sit here and say you're wrong because you're not. I agree with your sentiment and statement, but I think you're just ignoring the other aspect of when it comes to not just being drafted by the organization, but everything that comes around it. But
you're saying it about guys that are top 2 in their position all time. Like, if you, like I said, you said Draymond Green, that's understandable.
I get it.
But you're fighting Steph Curry and Kobe Bryant. Steph Curry battled early in his career. He came into a team where he was behind Jared Jack.
He was behind Baron Davis, Jared Jack, and Monte Ellis.
But you don't understand. The Wolves drafted 2. It's not like Curry wouldn't have started on the Wolves. They drafted 2 point guards before they drafted Curry. All right, you know what? It's cool.
Have you ever heard the story of how people figured out Stephen Curry was able to do what he was able to do? He kept doing it in practice. He was doing that over 100 times every practice. So any coach is going to see that and say, "Yo, I want you to start doing that on a court during the game." Any coach is going to do that.
No,
we're not going to sit here and act like the Warriors was this great franchise, though. The Warriors weren't a great franchise when he got there.
I'm not saying that the Warriors were a great franchise, but the personnel, they had more focus into the player development as opposed to other. That's why I'm trying to. It's all right. It's cool. I get it, though. I understand. I really understand your point. I get it. I'm not disagreeing with it.
You said that about Kobe. You should have bit your tongue.
I told him to cut it when you said Kobe, bro.
All right, listen. We going to end the episode, but shout out to John Wall. He retired. Anything you guys want to say about John Wall before we end it?
Nah, man. We set enough. Like,
all right, that concludes episode 188 of the Restricted Zone podcast. It was a real dynamic episode. Shout out to Chris and Mar. Great episode. Can't wait for this episode to drop. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on post notifications. Definitely stay tuned in. We keep it coming in with the content. Like I said, you can follow us on Instagram in the link below. All our Instagrams are below, so you can definitely DM us. Let us know what topics you want to talk about, and we'll go ahead and talk about it. Have a great day, everyone. Have a great week.